All right, Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Avakak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles of the great millstone, and as well as giving the salutations thereof towards you, Hakim, out that is forwarding this truth worldwide. And it's your brother Laban coming at you with another video. And, this video is going to be called something to the equivalent signs of the times. Excuse me. And I just got one article here that I want to get into on how you have a sinkhole which was small, and then it just grew exponentially, years later. That's what they found out, and so much more to bring out in this particular video. So now let's get started. So this reads: gigantic Texas sinkhole that first appeared in 2008 has ballooned in size since Sunday and is now more than 1,000 feet wide and 100 feet deep. A massive sinkhole in southeastern Texas that first grabbed the headline by threatening homes in 2008 began crumbling again over the weekend, ballooning to over 1,000 feet across and 400 feet deep overnight. After years of stability, the rim of the sinkhole in, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Diceta began crumbling again. On Sunday night, after residents reported hearing popping like a gunshot coming from the ground hours before, neighbors went to bed Sunday night and woke to find that the sinkhole was growing, and it has since gained about 150 feet in both width and depth. The hole first terrorized the neighborhoods 15 years ago when it started out as a 20-foot hole, but soon became a crater about 900 feet across and 250 deep as it grew and swallowed up cars, oil tanks, and power lines and caused extended road closures. In small towns, experts believe the sinkhole is caused by the erosion of a large salt dome, a large underground deposit of salt that Diceta is built on the top of. And I mean, this reminds me of what happened to, the two men which was coming up against Moses, Dathan and Abiram, where pretty much what you had you had those two that opposed themselves to be, against Moses, and they thought that they could, if my memory serves me correctly, they wanted to take his position. And then basically the Lord was going to demonstrate a wonder among these men, because these men weren't right. And the wonder was that the earth swallowed them up. In other words, the ground opened up and they got swallowed up in a deep hole, in a deep pit. All right. So and just saying this too, like, just imagine if you had a house and you was inside that house and the ground just caved in, opened up like this while you're in the house, or you're sleeping, and then suddenly your whole house collapses into the ground. Like, that would be very scary, man, to actually experience. You probably want to die. You would probably die due to panic if that really happened to you. So what they found out is that it was small, 15 years ago, and now it's ginormous. It's growing in size. And I mean, you got people all around the world, but let's just focus on America to be exact. A lot of people are hearing strange sounds in the sky. People are hearing, noises on the ground that they can't explain, that they can't find out. And then, you got this phenomenons going on as well as in the sky too. And people are seeing things like, for example, I want to show this video here of a woman, and she said she saw a bright light. Now, it could have been a chariot, or it could have just been a weird looking light that was seen in this video. And what I'll do is I'll play this video on the post production so you can check it out, because if I play it naturally, you won't be able to hear it, whether I take my mic off or not. So I'm going to just let you see it from there. And she's going to explain that she's been seeing something that's just weird.
Caught on camera, one woman says she spotted a strange floating object above Clovis Saturday night. Fox 26 News reporter Myra Franco spoke with her today. All right, Myra, what did she tell you?
Could it be a UFO? You let us know what you think in the Facebook comment section of this story. The Clovis woman who shared the video with us today says she never believed in aliens until now. What's that in the sky? That's the question when Clovis woman Kylie Hubble is asking after she recorded a strange flying object in the air outside of her window. It happened in Clovis near Gettysburg and Fowler Avenue around 11 Saturday night, where moments before
I was laying in bed watching TV, and then all of a sudden my room lit up a really bright light, and I thought maybe it was some type of flashlight or just something flying around, maybe a helicopter or something. So I opened the window and I didn't hear any sound. So I was like, that's not a helicopter or an airplane.
She says whatever it was floating in the air for about 2 minutes before it vanished.
It was probably as big as a hot air balloon, and it was lighting up and blinking, and then it got up really high and it lit up super, super bright, and then it just disappeared.
Hubble says she...
But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel, and this is Peter elaborating on what Joel said, which would become of the last days, or the end of the last days, which is what we're in right now. So now, let's read verse 17 all the way down to 19. And it shall come to pass in the last days, said the Lord, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaids I will pour out in those days my spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above and signs in the earth beneath, blood, fires, and vapors of smoke. And I mean, there's plenty of individuals that have came on YouTube or came on Facebook that have said that they've seen the Lord, and how he was a so-called black man, and how they've seen many different things, and how they're able to, have visions of the ending of the world, and how the ending of the world is going to be specifically before it even happens. I mean, we've had a whole lot of those that have came out and explained themselves on that regard, whether it was children, whether it was, women, whether it was men, old women, it didn't matter who it was. And in that same time, what are we going to see? As it reads again, and I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapors of smoke. Right? And the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord is come. So in this time, especially in this generation, as of recently, we've been seeing a lot of red moons. We've been getting a lot of those, and what they're also saying this week, which I believe this took place yesterday, where there was going to be a pink moon, which was going to be seen. All right. So now let's read a little bit of this over here. This is from the CNN, as you can already see. April's full pink moon will rise this week. So this reads, April's moon will not shine pink tonight, despite its name, but the bright golden orb could still offer a sight to behold. Moon observers can begin to see the lunar event starting Wednesday night, and it will peak early Thursday morning at 12:34 a.m. The April full moon at first glance will look like other moons, said Dr. Noel Petro, chief of NASA Planetary Geology, Geophysics, and Geochemistry Lab, in an email. Each one, however, presents a special opportunity to see a beautiful moon and start looking at the moon as it goes through its phase. I encourage people to dust of their binoculars or telescope to look closely at the moon. Try to see different colors, the light and dark regions, and recognize that those differences reflect different compositions of the rock. So that's pretty much all I have to read right there. So, what they've been warning is that possibly there's going to be a pink moon on the rise. We've had a blue moon, if I could remember, man, probably 9 years ago. Because I remember the Elder Ramah, he was speaking on that when we had the Pesach of, I think it was Pesach of maybe 2015 or something like that. Could have been 2015. So it could have been 8 years ago. So, and just saying as well, just to continue on and saying more so is the fact that we are in that time of the Lord's return. And before the Lord's return is in effect, we're going to see these things. We're going to see strange wonders and strange signs. And people are going to have to give their words on what they have envisioned, because obviously, they were triggered by the vision they had, whether it was women or whether it's children or, old men. Like, this is all a curse for what's to come. Like, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's a curse, which is really a curse upon the powers that be of the nation of Edom, because the powers that be, you better believe they already know the deal. They got to know the deal that when they see all of this going on is a means to an end, as well as Herod the king, which was in Jerusalem at the time, which he came from the, I believe, the lineage of Antipater, which he was a Greek. And what he found out is that there was a star in the east. It tells you that in Matthew chapter 2. And what they've realized is that star of the east symbolized that a Messiah was going to come and deliver the nation. So his whole goal was just to go see the Messiah. And, they did what they did. They gave, the wise men gave him the frankincense and myrrh. And then eventually later on down the line, they went back down to where the babies were, and they slaughtered all of the male babies, because they figured, well, someone with a greater resistance, someone which would come with a resistance would come, all right, and destroy their world. So you think Esau doesn't know that his end is about to be? Of course he knows, more so because they got the technology, all right? They got technology that costs tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds to actually see exactly what's going on in the heavens. Because if we can see with our little eyes without the technology, how much more can Esau can see? Okay, and I have some binoculars myself personally, right? And I did look up into the sky with the binoculars, and there's chariots that you don't even actually see. Okay, if you get some good, some affordable, of course I ain't got the kind of money to buy them kind of, vessels, but I'm just saying, if you can get you a good binoculars, right, you can actually see chariots that's next to the chariot that you do see. All right, there's a lot of things going on in the skies. So just like I said, just imagine if you have the equipment they have, you're going to be able to see a whole lot. Okay, so they know what the deal is, man. So now let's go and read the book of Luke. Matter of fact, let me go back and read this again. Yeah, so this reads, the sun shall be turned into darkness. And what I forgot to mention is that you're going to have your moon eclipses, and we've had a lot of those too in this time as well. And the moon into blood before that great and notable day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whoso shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. So this proves right here and then, not to jump off the topic, but this proves that you got to have the name. We got to have, in order for us to call on the name of the Lord, for us to be delivered, we would have to have the name. Okay, there's no such thing as, well, we don't have the name. We already have the name. Like, what are we talking about? And if we don't have the name, then what you're saying is that the Lord is a liar, because according to the book of, I believe is Zechariah, what is it, 3 and 9, right? Zechariah 3 and 9. No, that's not it. It's probably Zephaniah. Yeah, this is it right here. So this reads, for then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent. So that pure language is the Lashon Kodash, the Paleo Hebrew, so that you understand. So with that Paleo Hebrew, what? We're going to call upon his name, because that's the language of the heavens. Okay, so you got camps out there that are saying that we don't know if we have the official Hebrew, well, you could say the same thing with the language that you usually speak. And that's nonsense. And you know what too, like when you think about it, that what if questioning can or the suggestion, if I'm correct in saying it that way, that can go a long way. Like I could say, well, what if my shirt ain't really blue? What if it's just orange and it's just displayed as being blue? Like that's madness. Okay, you can bug out, man. So what it is, man, the official truth of the matter is we have the Hebrew as well as we have the name. Because if that is the case, if that isn't the case, then the Lord would be a liar. It's impossible for the Lord to be a liar. All right, Numbers 23 and 19. Okay, so there you have it right there. Let's go back and read the book of Acts. And let's continue on. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got to read right there. So we're going to see all of these signs and these wonders, and we're going to exchange sounds as well as people erring before the great notable day of the Lord come. So as well as the time that we're living in, we got to be close to that. So now let's also read something else. And speaking about solar eclipses, this is what NASA's predicting. So this reads, NASA map shows how, where, and when to see solar eclipses in the U.S. in 2023 and 2024. As you can already see, this is from the Business Insider. So this reads, 2 solar eclipses are in store for the U.S. A ring of fire solar eclipse across the west in October 2023 and a total solar eclipses in the east in April 2024. NASA released a detailed map showing the paths of those 2 eclipses. Let's walk through the best U.S. location for watching them. Right, so okay, yeah, so this reads, we'll start with 2023. On October the 14th, the moon will pass in front of the sun while it's at its farthest point from the earth. So I don't need to read anymore. It just tells you that as what they're saying, that this is what's coming probably this year and as well as next year. Okay, as well as it reads. Now let's go back to the scriptures. And what we want to do is we want to get the verse. It could be in the book of Acts. Yeah, this is what I wanted. And the sun shall be turned into darkness. So there you go. That's your solar eclipses. So what Peter's basically doing, he's just re-elaborating on what Joel was saying on that regard before the day of the Lord comes. All right. So in this generation that we're living in this eon, better, the Lord would have to be near. So this is, now we're going to read, what is it? Luke 21 and verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars. And upon the earth the stress of nations with perplexity, and the seas and the waves roaring. And men's heart failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And that is your chariots. And as well as, the Pentagon, I believe, if I'm correct, they've already considered these, unidentified flying objects as a threat to national security. And they should take it as a threat, because the day is going to come, as well as they already know, that the Messiah and as well as the spiritual realm is going to be released from the spiritual realm to the physical realm, and they're going to do damage. So yes, indeed, they should be considered as a threat, because as I just read to you, let's read this again. Men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And so there you have it. The powers that are now are going to be shaken off their throne. And obviously I mean that figuratively. All right, meaning they're going to be taken out of power. And then the Messiah is going to declare his power on the earth, right along with his saints. 27, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And whose redemption this is for? The Israelites, us, the so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, and Native American Indians. So when we see this stuff going on, then it's for us to know that our redemption is nigh. So now let's read this. This is our 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. And we're going to read verse 6. And even so the times. Let's start with verse 5, shall we? For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. This is the point. And even so the time also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders, and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. All right. So in the last days, or the latter point of the last days, we're seeing the ends, or the ending and effects. So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing sinkholes. We're seeing the uproars of the people. We're seeing strange phenomenons in the sky. All right. And so much more. Blood moons, blue moons, you name it, pink moons. Okay. May I go on? So now let's go back and let me read some more of this too. Yeah, so this reads, since the moon appears smaller, it won't completely cover the sun, and it will leave a ring of fire around its shadow, and this is called the annular solar eclipse. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got to read right there. I thought that this is going to come with some more information. You know, they're showing you that where it could possibly go and everything like that. So, you know, yeah, you brothers get the gist. I don't need to go more than that. You know, you brothers and you sisters, you understand. All right. So, yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much all I'm going to really share with you right here, because I want to move on to another video too. So, with that, I'm going to close this one, and I want to see if I didn't leave something out. And if I did, I'll probably do a part 2 to this anyway. All right. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to bring to y'all, man. You know, you brothers and you sisters out there. You know, with that, I'm closing. With that, I'm closing, and I say shalom.